of the Attorney General. Both objected to the committee's decision. Well, joining me now in the studio is Knesset member Yochanan Plesner of Kadima. M.K. Plesner, thank you for coming in.
Good evening, Yochanan.
First of all, let's talk about this raid that occurred last week. You are a veteran of another elite IDF unit. You served in the General Staff Reconnaissance Unit. How did it make you feel when you watched those pictures played out on television of the Navy commandos being beaten, stabbed, shot? How did you feel?
Those pictures were very difficult, I think, for every Israeli citizen, not only for a former officer, commander officer. Those clearly our soldiers entered an arena in which they were not prepared for. They thought that they're going to enter a group of parliamentarians who are going to tie themselves to the side of the deck, and instead they found people who were planning to lynch and slaughter and try to murder them.
There's growing calls for an international inquiry into this. Here at home there are some calls for an internal Israeli-led inquiry. Which do you support?
I think when we talk about an inquiry, it's very important to make a clear distinction. Internationally, there's a call for an inquiry because they believe, or at least some elements in the international community believe, that Israel committed crimes, war crimes, and basically killed peace activists against, and that our entire action is against international law. Those claims have to be refuted. We have to be completely united in refuting those claims, and in order to do that, probably we need some kind of local investigation with an international observing element, and this formula has to be agreed upon in advance with the Americans. It can be a national investigation commission, but probably it's even better if the government will establish a committee in accordance or in coordination with the Americans. This is in order to clear the IDF and in order to raise the problematic issues that in fact it was a plot to try and murder Israeli soldiers. Now this is one aspect. The other aspect is the cause for internal inquiries and investigations and debriefing in order to understand the decision-making process. Because what we're seeing here from an internal perspective is that our foes have managed to achieve 1,000% of their goals. They wanted to delegitimize Israel's siege policy vis-a-vis Gaza. They wanted to delegitimize Israel. They wanted to present Israel as a country that violates international law, and they were very successful. And we did not want to achieve those results. So both in terms of our ability to explain ourselves, our operational preparation, and the decision-making process within the government. We established the National Security Council that apparently was not activated. We have a cabinet that apparently, at least ministers in the cabinet, said they were not consulted. There's the famous 7 that even their ministers say that they were not consulted. So clearly there was a bad foreign policy result for Israel, and we have to look into it internally, not because the world is asking us, because we want to make sure that in the future we prevent such an outcome.
One final question. We just have a few seconds left. Party leader Tzipi Livni of the opposition, your party, Kadima, moments ago tabled a motion of no confidence in the government regarding this incident, and yet just last week she was speaking out very fervently defending the government. Why the turnaround?
No turnaround. We are very consistent. We support the IDF and the government against the vicious accusations against our soldiers and that label us as violators of international law. At the same time, we think that the way the government weighed the options, conducted the operation, and when you connect that to the fact that this government led us to a level of isolation, international isolation, that is pretty much unheard of if you compare it to our situation. And a year and a half ago, we connect all the dots and we're saying there's an irresponsible government here. We support our soldiers, we support the IDF, we condemn the accusations against us, but nevertheless, we think this government is doing a bad job, and it should go.
I know you have to run back to the Knesset because that vote is coming up on the no confidence motion. M.K. Yochanan Plesner of Kadima, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Well, veteran Washington correspondent Helen Thomas has been abandoned by some key people following her comments that Jews should get